It doesn't add up. It does not add up. The prosecution came up and told you a part of the story, but when you piece it all together, it doesn't add up. The night of September 24th was the night of Vanessa Sullivan's 21st birthday. A night that was meant to be full of celebration quickly became a night of horror, eventually resulting in the death of a young woman. Although death is tragic, although death is horrible, and we would like to place the blame on someone, not every story has a big bad wolf. Ladies and gentlemen, the prosecution would have you believe that Danny Dawson was in complete control of the circumstances surrounding the night of Vanessa Sullivan's death. But this is false. Danny Dawson had almost no control of the circumstances that night. First, the three friends left the bar and began down Canyon Road, a road known for being dangerous in even ideal conditions. Furthermore, it was raining incredibly hard. As London Bennett, a resident who lives at Canyon Road, stated, it was like someone had turned 1,000,000 buckets of water over all at once. On top of that, Taylor Hobson was in the back seat singing at the top of their lungs. Then, combining all these distractions, a deer runs into the road. Danny Dawson did what anybody else would have done in this situation. He swerved to protect himself and, more importantly, his friends. Following that, Danny lost control of the car and collided with a utility pole and a tree. After the collision, tests were ran on Danny to determine his sobriety. The prosecution will lead you to believe that these tests were conducted accurately. Furthermore, these tests were conducted in the pouring rain, where Ryan Foster, the first responder on the scene, admitted that he himself almost tripped and fell. On top of that, Vanessa Sullivan's mother was standing at the scene screaming at Ryan Foster and Danny Dawson during the test. After these tests were conducted on Danny, he was hauled off to the police station where Avery Smith did an intoxilizer test on Danny. Setting aside the inaccuracies that surround the intoxilizer test, the test itself was not conducted properly by Avery Smith. Avery Smith only observed Danny for 5 minutes, when even his own procedures require a standard observation of at least 15 minutes. Not only did Avery Smith disregard the standard observation period, they also neglected to take into account certain factors about Danny Dawson. Factors that could affect the rate in which he or she metabolizes alcohol. Ashley Norton, a doctor from Johns Hopkins University, will come before you and tell you why it is so imperative that the observation procedures are followed. Furthermore, Dr. Norton will explain that there were factors that were ignored by the Midlands Police Department and Avery Smith, factors that could have influenced the breath alcohol content of Danny Dawson. Yet again, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't add up. Following the events of the 24th, a crash team reconstruction report was created by Ryan Foster. This report detailed what Ryan Foster thought to be the circumstances leading up to the accident that night. Although some portions of the report were valid, some didn't add up. Ryan Foster used the drag sled method to determine the speed of the car prior to the crash. However, the drag sled method is under harsh debate in the scientific community as to its degree of accurateness. Although it's even harder to use the drag sled method to determine the speed if it's pouring rain, which it was that night. In addition, the conclusion about the speed that was created by Ryan Foster leads to the further inconsistencies in determining key aspects of the accident, such as the speed of the car right before it came to rest between a utility pole and a tree. Dr. Leslie Roman, the defense expert, will come before you and testify to the inaccurately of the drag sled test. Furthermore, Dr. Roman analyzed more of these findings according to the crash scene photos and drew differing conclusions than that of Ryan Foster about the speed and impact of the car. Ladies and gentlemen, after this proceeding, it will be up to you to determine whether or not you believe that the story of the prosecution holds water. And in making that determination, I hope that you take all of the facts that will be presented to you by the defense and make sure that the prosecution's case adds up. Nothing further.